Alrighty, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Theory of a Blind Man. That's right, I am your host. Welcome, everybody. Happy Friday, May, whatever it is. Computer, what's today's date? 22nd. Thank you. I got it before her. Anyway, tonight joining us is Jesse Anderson, also known as, I can't ever get the acronym right, BGFH.
Yeah, hello, good
Yes.
to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Got
Yep,
it.
and I can tell you where that actually came from.
I've been trying to be the smart one and trying to figure out on my own, but I've failed. I was like, baby girl's forehead? I don't know.
No, actually, if you are into any kind of technology, like especially kind of old school technology, but like a friend of mine in college introduced me to this series. It was actually called BOFH, and there's 3 Kindle books that have compiled these stories that used to be in, I forget, some British PC magazine or something, but they're basically this, it stands for the Bastard Operator from Hell, and it's this network guy who, they had these little stories every month or whatever, and they would, he would just basically like torture like he hated management and like the people at the help desk and stuff, so he would just like mess with them and just do all kinds of crazy stuff. It's kind of like if you were a tech support person or like a tech person, like everything that you thought about, like you wanted to do a user get in trouble. They're amusing, so I just kind of spun that off.
Oh, nice. Okay, so what does yours stand for? The Bastard Gamer from Hell?
Yep, it could be that, or you could say the Blind Gamer from Hell. It's open for interpretation.
Okay.
Could be, whatever works.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and first give everybody a little bit of information about yourself, how you got started. I know before the show you said you've been low vision most of your life or all of your life, so you've been in this. I've been in the, I guess you'd say, gray area of partial vision. When I first started losing my sight, I get the frustration. I remember you were saying something in one of the videos talking about the accessibility issues with the varying range, the spectrum of low vision. It's so great. It would almost be easier to make a fully accessible game for blind users because blind is blind. But now you've got all these other... Anyway, so why don't you go ahead and go into that, and then we'll get into the goodies.
Well, yeah, just a little background. Like I said, I have been legally blind my whole life, hence the term illegally sighted. But yeah, I've been legally blind my entire life. I've been into technology and games pretty much my whole life, ever since I can remember. I grew up, I saw the first thing I remember seeing was at my babysitter's house, I saw the Atari 2600, and just the fact that like, oh, dude, I can actually control something on the TV. How cool is this?
Right.
And then I got into the, Apple II at school, that kind of a thing. And then once I saw the NES, and then I saw like some of the early DOS games, I'm like, okay, that's it. We're done. That's what what it's going to be.
Yeah.
So right now I do work full time. By day, I'm an assistive technology specialist for the state, and where we really work with working age adults, teenagers and adults. I work a lot with transition age kids, students, and basically, I'm the technology specialist, so I try to help people. Games are great and everything, but we got to pay the bills,
Right.
So trying to get that horrible unemployment statistic down a little bit and help people try to find employment. And having people getting people the right technology and the technology skills is a major part of that these days. And so that's where and a few other guys come in.
You work with the state as far as like blind field services for employment?
Yeah, I work with state services for the blind in Minnesota. Yeah, I work. It's a state. Yeah, it's a state agency.
I just put out a call looking for someone in that capacity to talk about another topic that I wanted to get into. So if you'd like to come back in the future for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
I could talk a lot about just employment and education and all kinds of stuff in that area.
Awesome.
That's one of my other passions, I would say.
Wow, cool. That is really cool.
Yeah. Yep. And then, so that's my day job. And then I've been into tech and gaming forever, but I really kind of stumbled into this whole game accessibility thing. In 2012, believe it or not, I can't believe I've been doing this for 8 years. I, out of the blue, I just kind of decided, where there's all these streaming things starting up. Everyone seems to be on YouTube. And a friend of mine and I, we had this Minecraft server. It started out where we got tired of sharing these epically large map files back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
So we're like, oh, well, let's just not show it off to ourselves. But we had a server, and so I would go online and I would like make my first 3 videos were these Minecraft videos giving a tour of our server and the projects that we were working on. And then I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't so bad. And I started kind of just throwing up a few game videos. And then I'm like, well, how do I differentiate myself between the gazillions of other channels and stuff like that out there? And I thought, well, at the time, there really weren't, that I know of, many, if any, blind or low vision people on YouTube. And so I thought, well, you know what? Let's take a look at this. Let's look at game accessibility, technology accessibility, and just look at things kind of through that angle. Mainstream games, accessible games, and then I figured out a way to capture mobile footage from iOS, iPad, iPhone to my computer so I can record that. And then, yeah, I kind of just stumbled into that. And then in 2015, I went down to the CSUN conference and I met this certain individual who kind of made me kick things into high gear. Probably have heard of Ian Hamilton.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So Ian Hamilton, he is the man. Went to one of his sessions on game accessibility. We kind of just started chatting via email and stuff. And then, I don't know, we just really sort of kicked it into high gear. And it was around that time where there were actually starting to be a few rumblings of mainstream games that were starting to implement little bits of accessibility. Mm-hmm. And it was a great time to get into it. Because then ever since then, it's just I've been really kind of focusing my attention really toward that direction, not just showcasing games and showing my experiences, but actually really getting out there on social media and the videos and now streams and stuff, and just really trying to contact developers and advocate for game and VR accessibility, because around the same time, 2016, I believe it was, the Oculus Rift came out, and I saw a prototype of it a little bit before it launched, and I knew there was going to be some major issues with low vision accessibility. Yet what I saw was so dang cool that, I actually, believe it or not, I saw virtual reality in 1995 out at the University of Washington, and so I saw this really old build that was hung from the ceiling, and it was this ginormous thing,
like Incredible Universe had for a while.
It was actually at a university, but there was these things where there was one where you were floating through this atom and you were picking up particles, and there was one where you were swimming underwater.
Yep.
And then there was another one that was you were just in this kitchen, and they had a little tracker on a plate, so when you moved, you picked up the plate and it looked like you were moving stuff around in an actual kitchen. I mean, it was simple, but it was just holy crap. So I've been kind of fascinated with VR ever since, and then I thought, I do have to get into this VR thing, and then I used the excuse of, well, I guess I'm going to spend another couple $1,000s on a gaming rig, and so I can play the thing and the VR headset. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking again, well, I bet you there's pretty much not many people that I know of, if anybody, that's out there really showcasing and advocating and trying to do consulting for VR accessibility, because it is an expansive enthusiast hobby at the moment, although it's gotten better with things like the Quest.
I've heard a lot of people doing live streaming with VR equipment, so they'll have...
I've done it.
Oh, okay, so yeah, you can have your own character or whatever, or your own avatar. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, well, it depends on what you're doing. There are games and apps where you can have your own avatar, but a lot of it can just be, you're in more of a traditional game environment, or just somewhat like an environment. One of my favorites ones that there's a couple that I really like. Job Simulator, which is this cartoony, this like museum where the robots are in the future, pretending they understand what humans used to do for jobs and getting it completely wrong. And then on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, there was Dread Halls, which is this like really narrow corridors, dark, creepy as hell. Just crazy horror game that's quite good. Quite good. So yeah, I mean, I've been really just trying to advocate for game accessibility, VR accessibility, trying to get involved with working with developers, beta testing when I can. I've had a couple of opportunities for consulting gigs and even a couple of speaking opportunities. So yeah, I'm keeping busy.
Nice. How is the VR accessibility coming these days? I know, like, for example, the mainstream AAA type games, that seems to be growing exponentially with accessibility in the last couple years. How's VR coming?
Well, VR is still a struggle, partly because, I mean, VR is still, it's only, what would I say, 2016? So it's only been about 4 years. God, it's been 4 years already.
Yeah, right.
That VR came out to the public in any meaningful way. And so everybody is still trying to figure out, all aspects of VR, not just accessibility. Like, one of the things that people are trying to figure out especially is because it's so immersive, and if you're moving around in VR, a lot of people are susceptible to motion sickness.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you display user interfaces, menus, and controls, and how do you get around a world in a virtual space when maybe some person has a big room and some people like me live in a one-bedroom apartment where you don't have a lot of space, and so everyone's still trying to figure that stuff out. But then they're also there's been a couple things relating to accessibility, but that's still very, very early on. I just literally, within the last month, found out about an organization called XR Access, and it's at xraccess.org. And it's basically this organization that is devoted to VR and virtual and augmented reality accessibility. And there's just a whole bunch of people that are coming together who are interested in establishing some accessibility standards and figuring out what we need to do to get games and apps and game engines and platform holders like Steam VR and Oculus to start adding some of these things. And so I joined it a few weeks ago.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I've had so many instances where I could play an accessible game, but it's only on Steam. What I don't understand is these game developers that are targeting blind players, why do they put them on Steam? They all know that Steam has yet to take the step of making their platform accessible.
Yeah, and I've actually talked to a couple of developers about that, or I've at least kind of told them, hey, if you're going to launch here, maybe launch over at GOG.com too, because on GOG, you can actually just, when you log into your account, you can download a game directly. You can use their launcher if you want to. That's kind of like a Steam client, but you can also download games directly from their website. And yeah, Steam is, it does so many great things. I have a love-hate relationship because on the mainstream stuff, it works really, really well. But its accessibility people have found ways to get around it. And since I have some vision, I use a combination of magnification, and your screen reader like NVDA will read a lot of it if you hover your mouse over things, but just the keyboard navigation isn't really that friendly. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I got to catch, like we were talking earlier, basically two of my favorite games in almost all time. GTA 5, which I interviewed, you guys know I interviewed Irvin from the mod developer for the GTA Blind Pack, I guess you call it, I'm not sure. But then today, I saw Jesse's video. You guys need to go check out on Illegally Sighted. Is his Ages of Empires video, and I was so excited. I was a little disappointed, but the potential is there. That's what's important. So, if you want to talk about Ages of Empires, which is playing in the background, by the way, so people can get an idea of that.
Okay. Yeah, so that's just it. Is I learned about that fairly recently. Age of Empires 2 originally came out in the late 90s, and it was this real-time strategy game, which those types of games, I generally, especially from a low vision perspective, I really don't play those because there's so many little user interface things and tiny characters and just icons and just, it's a mess.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
So I played it. A couple of my friends in college were huge into it, so I kind of humor them and try to play it with them a little bit. And it was okay, but I never got super into it. And then a couple of weeks ago, I learned that this definitive remastered edition had just come out, and it's free if you are an Xbox Game Pass or Game Pass Ultimate subscriber. So if you have Game Pass Ultimate, you can just download it to your PC for free. And so I heard that there was some accessibility, some text-to-speech. So I checked it out, and I played it for about 5-10 minutes and went, holy Lord. Because there's a lot of games that have come out in the last, I would say, year and a half, 2 years or so that have had some degree of like menu narration, but it's been kind of largely restricted to your main menus, your couple option screens here and there. But once you get into the game, nothing.
Yeah, like Mortal Kombat, for example.
Right. And so when I saw that and I went into the game and like, holy crap, I'm mousing over all of the little UI elements. I'm, mousing over the characters, the buildings, the trees and resources. And everything was really speaking, which I've been talking about in videos and in past presentations. Like when I spoke last year at the Game Accessibility Conference, that was one of my things. Is like I would kill for a game that would just include text to speech for like your skill trees and maps and mission objectives, and it did all of that. The problem, why we're not quite there yet with Age of Empires, is that there's not, at least unless I'm missing something, there's really not a good way for a totally blind user to get around the map screen. So
that
being able to like
thing.
The flags and just like knowing where all of your villagers and soldiers are, or knowing where the enemies are, or like if I'm going to click on, let's say I'm going to build a barracks, where it's there's nothing that's going to tell me, oh, am I trying to put it over another building or a tree? So there's things like that there needs to be a little bit more some kind of like indication, and then I think some more like just being able to navigate menus and dialogues and the actual game with the keyboard a little bit more in addition to the regular keyboard shortcuts.
Yeah, we should be several minutes into the video if you want to take a listen to how it actually sounds, if you don't mind.
Sure. Or a description of what that item is, and just like you would have...
You can hear it, right?
Your desktop screen reader
it's 2 for 2 for me,
giving you that extra information, perhaps how to navigate or use a control via hotkey.
Multiplayer.
So those are two big icons that just get you, boom, right into the action right away, that are side by side, left to right. Down below that,
Standard game.
Self-explanatory.
Campaigns. Play through the official campaigns based on real-life historical events.
Now, I'm going to fast forward into one of your William Wallace battles, because that's where a lot of the information was coming.
Exactly, and that's where I was the most impressed.
Yeah.
Because, and like you said at the beginning of this, is like, it stinks that it's not totally blind accessible, but the fact that a hugely complex game like this, a AAA game like this, even though there are some usability and navigation issues, the fact that they've gotten this far, like since like 2 or 3 years ago, that this much of the interface in the complicated game like this is actually speaking is awesome.
It sets such a precedence. Like, I think you're actually saying it in this video that it's not the fact that they don't think they can, so they're not even going to try. They think they can, so they tried.
Exactly. And if it's not perfect, you know what? I mean, text-to-speech can really help blind users, but like for someone like myself who has some remaining vision but just really struggles with small, tiny things like that, this helps immensely.
Yeah, you shouldn't be getting a headache when you want to play something enjoyable.
No, and I can, like, what I always say is I can save my vision for playing the game and not struggling with all the menus and UI.
Yeah.
Sequential and logical way. So, you know, being able to build it, if I move my mouse.
1. Marching and fighting,
Oh, we're
speeding.
the 7.
Yep, keep going ways ahead because that's on the map screen there.
Yeah.
I did a
Like
longer
the back
video just
button.
because I really wanted to showcase everything on this thing because it's so awesome.
It is.
But, you know, I want to hear him at that point. So what I would do is instead of having
Oh, the control. We'll talk about the control key in a minute, guys.
Yeah.
That is one big
thing for protection and healing.
this time it gave us a different tip because if I hover
the
high,
tips.
I think we're about in that area.
Return to the main menu.
return to the main
campaigns.
menu.
Back.
Oh, I think
Now
that
we're
button has-
on the map screen again, which is kind of funny because return to main menu would mean, oh, I'm going to go back to the main menu. Buttons, line and low visibility,
Main
Back.
marches on its
Button.
stomach. It's a different map entirely.
Cancel.
Once again.
harvest resources.
Game pause.
Got our mission objective screen again.
Main
All
is
right.
the
so every
button.
time I modern game and whatever to get stand walls, I hate it.
If I would have known, I
Resources
should have
to win.
created a separate little video
The
clip
left
for you
there
for the show
and-
of just the game.
Ah, yeah.
They look
I,
like
this
little.
video-
I didn't even think about it. I thought since you didn't have the video, it'd be cool to put this on instead.
This area at the bottom of the screen, you can see how much food the villager is
And this is one of the
Oh, that's a
missions.
tooltip if you were
Now-
wanting to tab.
We have the only building
The
we
villager will
have.
continue working for him, carrying the food to the town centre.
Of course, when I want to get to the part, it's hard to find.
Yeah.
That are based
Also
on either
repairs
my
ships and
current
siege
unit
weapons.
or current
Upgrades,
status or current
hit
building that I
points.
clicked
You now
on.
have
Armor,
50 food.
efficiency,
To win,
town center,
also gather 50
wood resource
50
gathering,
gold.
create
To gather
villager,
wood,
create
click a
villager,
villager, then
cost,
right-click a tree.
50
if you
food.
haven't found any gold yet,
gathers research,
search in the unexplored territory.
click to select this villager.
So, yeah, see again, especially
Click
as
to select
Wallace
this
is
villager.
talking there,
Click to
I
select
would love
this
to.
And so you guys know, when he's dragging his mouse over certain things, that's what the feedback is providing is whatever the mouse is on. So that's really cool to have that kind of real-time text-to-speech.
Yep, and not only is it telling you what the item is, like the build button or the town center or a villager, but it's actually telling you any tooltip that's associated. So if you're trying to build like how many resources does it take, or what does this unit do? So it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Able to hit control and temporarily shut up the text.
That's the thing, control. Yeah, that's one thing that we all screen readers users, like, we've got our middle finger or pinky finger pretty much glued to the control key.
That's a very crucial. Like, we want things to talk, but equally we need it to shut up on occasion.
Yeah. And plus, like you're saying in the game, the guy that's providing the narrative.
Yeah,
or the
you want to hear
narration.
him.
Yeah. So, really quick, I'm going to hit up the chat. Danny is here. Agent Z% is here. Stanley Wynn is here. Thank you all for coming. Earth Magic I thought I saw, but I'm not quite sure. Danny wanted to know, have you ever seen IT Crew? Oh, wow. Hey, man. Thank you, Independently Blind. That is my first super chat in I don't know how long. Thank you, Independently Blind. Much appreciated. Oh, did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Streamlabs is actually working. That is awesome. Anyway, I'm sorry. I get easily distracted. Like the other night, Streamlabs just started magically working during a live show, and all my games, my in-chat games started working. I was like, oh, we gotta take a break. But
Yep.
yeah. So Danny asked if you had ever seen the IT Crew.
I've heard of it. I think isn't that like a British thing?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've heard of it. I think I might have seen a clip of it, but no, I don't think I have. Although Office Space is definitely one of my favorite movies of all time.
Oh my God, Office Space. Yeah.
So good.
Looks like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
I
love
love
when he takes that
every
co-
line in that movie is just so quotable. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It's if you work in an office, it's like basically your Bible.
Yeah. Oh man, that's like, yeah, that is a cult classic. Oh, Michael Bolton when he takes the copying machine out of the office and beats the crap out of it.
Oh, there's so many times. And at work, it's so funny. I always get my coworker to crack up and because I'll walk over to him and be like, excuse me, I was told that if I could listen to the radio at a reasonable volume, and I just start talking like Milton, he just loses it.
This is the last time, but I swear, I'll burn the place down.
Yep.
Pina colada and no salt. I said no salt, please. My wrist.
Oh man.
Oh, when he's talking about the squirrels getting married in the trees. Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyway, Damery, I want to get on VR, but it's so pricey. Yeah, like some of these YouTubers that I watch, like Team Skeptic got a VR set for his. So he dresses up as a Twinkie in his VR thing for the audience. It's hilarious, but he spent like thousands upon thousands of dollars for this thing.
Yeah, and it depends on really what kind of headset you get. Now, the good news is VR has become a lot more affordable, especially recently, because you can get something like the Oculus Rift, but you can also get the Oculus Quest, which has a couple of bonuses. This thing is like $300 to $400 depending on which version you get. And the cool thing is, it's a standalone headset that you can use by itself because it has its own sort of in-headset interface, which is an accessibility nightmare, but I digress. We'll talk about that later. But the cool thing about it is that you can use it by itself, but you can also plug it into your computer with a USB-C cable. Oh. And they literally just released a patch within the last week or so to where like they used to require a really high-end, a high-spec USB cable because the latency was too bad, but now they made it so you can pretty much, if you have a USB-C cable, you can pretty much connect it to your computer and run it, and so your computer will basically, you use the Oculus software, and it's basically just like using it like it's a Rift.
Yeah. So
you have the bonus of a mobile VR headset with full tracking, and you can use it with your PC now.
Oh wow, that is amazing.
So yeah, I'm nuts, and I ended up getting the Rift when it came out, and then I wanted to see how because I knew there was going to be additional issues with standalone VR. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I bought a Quest last year too. Like I'm a nerd. I have two VR headsets, for God's sake.
What's the sound engine like? Is it separate headphones? Does it come with headphones? Is it?
The Rift actually has its own headphones. They hang down from the sides and they just kind of go over your ear, and they actually sound quite good for what they are. Now, the Quest is kind of interesting because it has a headphone jack on either side that you can use, or it's really weird how it does it, and I'm not exactly sure how, but there are speakers built into it, and it kind of shoots the sound kind of down like towards your ear from the device. Like it kind of shoots it down through the head strap sort of, so like it still kind of sounds like you can still kind of tell things that are around you.
Interesting.
Even with just using this built-in speakers. It's kind of cool how it does it actually.
I wonder how because being totally blind, we're always thinking about specifically first thing is sound, like MK. That's why I bought Mortal Kombat, because the sound on that game is amazing. You can tell exactly where everyone is.
Yep.
You can hear movements, so stuff like that. So I'm wondering if they're kind of VR is VR, so the whole point of VR, it's virtually real.
Right, immersed. Exactly.
So that's what I would think.
And we get to play as RoboCop soon. Yes. RoboCop in Mortal Kombat.
What's that?
We get to play as RoboCop in Mortal Kombat.
Oh, I heard about that. I heard. Yeah. I don't know, did they ever release the Joker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Sweet.
And now you have RoboCop and Terminator, so now we'll be able to do RoboCop versus Terminator, and that's cool.
That'll be awesome. That'll be awesome. RoboCop. I was always a RoboCop fan, so that'll be awesome.
Yep. I actually just watched the original RoboCop again last night. It's one of my favorite action movies. I love that movie.
That poor guy, Robert Weller. Oh man, when he gets that's not something you should see at 8 years old, but yeah, it was a life changer.
Oh yeah, no, that movie is It's so dark. I mean, just the guy getting shot up in the boardroom, and then
Yeah.
the guy like who gets melted and gets run over by the car.
Oh, red. Yep.
Guy in the
That was nasty.
in the
Ew.
yeah, get
Oh.
acid on him. Like, oh god.
Oh, that movie brings back so many memories. Danny says it looks ridiculously fun. Would she be able to read the menus? Because let's see, Danny, I interviewed her a couple nights ago. She has oh boy, OCA or something. Forgive the acronym, I can't remember exactly what it is, but it has to do with albinism.
Okay.
So she's got low
which
vision.
game is she talking about? Age of Empires?
VR. Talking about VR. That's it.
Okay, so here's the issue with VR. I'm going to try to keep this brief. If you want, you can add it to your show notes or something. I did a video a while back, a video presentation at the 2017 ID24 conference about all the low vision VR accessibility issues, which all still apply today. But essentially, the extra problem that you have in VR is that it's hard to explain if you haven't seen it, but like when you're in virtual reality visually, you are literally in a 3D space. So like if you're looking at a 3D screen on a 3D game on a flat screen, you're looking at a screen.
Right.
But when you're in VR, the environment is like right up by your eyes. And if you're in, let's say, a big old, Coliseum or something, and you can literally tell like, oh, this ceiling looks 40 feet high. And so the problem with a lot of where I have the most trouble is the menus and the user interface, because what they like to do is they assume you have perfect vision, and they will put it at like a virtual, let's say that, oh, we want this to look like it's virtually 3 feet from your face. And when, like in VR,
itself?
yes.
Okay, gotcha.
And so there's different types of tracking, and the full tracking, what they call 6 degrees of tracking, means that you can turn your head, you can look left, right, up, down, but you can also move or lean in any direction, just like you can in real life. So if the experience or user interface is set up for it, I can literally walk up or lean closer to look at something like I can in real life. But if the interface doesn't allow for that, and it says, oh, well, we're going to treat this like it's 3 feet away from your face, and if when you lean forward, it moves back. So it always maintains that same distance from you, which is super frustrating. And so there's a lot of guesswork that I have to do in order to navigate an interface. I might watch a YouTube video. I might guess, it's like, oh, the first option is usually new game. But if I'm on my Rift, it mirrors it to my computer monitor. So I have to lift up with my left hand. I'll lift up the headset kind of to my forehead, try to look at the flat screen, turn magnifier on and look at the screen and go, oh, okay, that's the layout that I'm looking for. Or I might even record a video clip, of me just looking around the menu. And then I'll take the headset off and I'll look at the menu and go, okay, the first one is this, the second one is this, oh, that's this option. And then it's like memorizing the menus and then just going back into the headset. And it's a pain in the butt.
You know what they should do?
So
They should make where, okay, like you're saying, it's 3 feet ahead of you. So they can obviously program that to always be at 3 feet ahead of you. Why not have a virtual, what's it called? Bracer, an armband, basically. Like an forearm computer screen or something. You hold it up to your face and you can see it. So if you hold your hand closer, you can get closer to it. Hold it farther away, you can, see what I'm saying? You can just basically touch your arm wherever the menu bars or however it works. That would be awesome.
And see, the problem is, and what I was saying earlier, is that everyone is still sort of, not just accessibility, but everybody is still trying to figure out VR as it is.
Yeah.
And so you go from one app to another.
That's completely
and
different.
Every single app is going to look, their user interface is going to look totally different.
Yeah.
Some of it's going to look like a flat menu. Some of it's going to look like Minority Report, and some of it's going to look completely different. And there are some games where the interface is good because they treat the menus and stuff as just another object in the environment, which means if you have a headset that supports this full head tracking, I can literally walk up to it or lean into it and get super close, and I can read that menu UI. So there are some games that do it, but unfortunately not enough do.
Yeah. That's crazy. I love Office Space. Oh, I gotta catch up. I'll tell you what, guys. If you have any questions specifically for Jesse, I'm going right to the bottom of the chat. So right now, throw in your questions for Jesse if you have any. So is VR you're kind of like your baby right now as far as accessibility projects go?
I'm all over the place, honestly. I am doing a lot of just game accessibility things. I do work in, like I said, I'm kind of looking at some VR accessibility with this XR Access group, but I'm also doing a lot, like I said, continuing to do a lot of stuff with flat screen games. I've actually been fortunate enough to get a couple of consulting gigs this year, which has been amazing, on just some flat screen stuff through Microsoft. Can't really say much more about it at the moment, unfortunately, but so I've been doing some flat screen stuff there. And then I also, like I said, I do beta tests for some mobile apps and games and stuff like that as well. So I work, when I'm not doing my day job thing, I'm kind of just going through all kinds of technology and game and VR accessibility. So I'm all over the place.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome, Huckleberry Hound. Welcome to the chat. Appreciate it. I don't know if I said hi to Agent or Standing, or actually Independently Blind, but I got so far behind in the chat. This is obviously a passion of mine too. I'm a total gamer at heart, always have been. Like you mentioned Atari 2600, and boom, I thought Attack Chopper, Pitfall. You know, I was just like, oh my god, all those games come flooding back in my memory. And then I didn't go the NES route. I went Sega route. You know, Genesis, 32X. Sega CD.
A couple of my friends had, believe it or not, a Master System.
Whoa.
And then a couple of my friends also had a Genesis and a Sega CD. I remember those two.
That was
Comic Zone, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh. The music in that was so good.
Yeah. I remember the first game that I got for Sega Genesis was actually a pre-day release, and it was on Mother's Day, I want to say 94-ish, but the first Mortal Kombat ever, Sega Genesis.
Oh yeah, played the heck out of that.
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't have a Genesis, but I sure went over to my friend's place and played a lot of it.
Yeah, that was awesome. I was gonna go actually ask you a question about accessible games. I know it's gonna be hard to kind of categorize one of each, but if you could say, what would you say is the most accessible low vision game for you, at least, and the most accessible blind game that you've tried?
Actually, that isn't too bad. I have a couple of good answers for you. Low vision wise, and just the fact that they've added so many accessibility features, I have to recommend the PC version of Eagle Island.
Okay.
It is a 2D platformer, and the guy has added, shout out to Pixelnix, who's the developer. It's basically made by one dude, and this guy, like I said, it's a 2D platformer. There are so many settings in there. Like, you can dim the background, so like, you know, if things don't stand out enough for you, you can dim the background. You can add like highlights for your character or the enemies or platforms. But it also has full text to speech. The PC version of it does, where any of, you know, it's got the, you know, like the 16-bit style, like, you know, text dialogues. So everything in menus and options and like the character dialogue or the store that you go into the game and you buy items, all of that speaks.
Nice.
It's beautiful.
Nice. Really quick, someone was talking about hitting the super chat, and again, you guys, I don't get enough attention on YouTube to where the super chats. I have been getting super chats for several months, and since I don't reach the threshold, I don't ever get paid from YouTube. So please consider the PayPal me link. That'd be awesome. Anyway, sorry, I get that before someone.
No problem. No, if I'm ever blabbing too much, just tell me to shut up, because I I can babble forever. And for a couple blind accessible games, again, I'm going to go PC because there's just so much support.
Yeah.
The first game that I ever saw that had just full text-to-speech and actually screen reader support, mainstream game, the PC version of Skullgirls. It's a 2D fighting game.
I gotta write that down.
From the time that you open the app, if you have JAWS or NVDA running, all of the menus, even the character move lists, the text dialogue, like every single thing in that game speaks.
Wow, that's a fighting game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 2D fighting game that's brutally hard. I am absolute terrible at it. And then the other one that I have to shout out is a game on Steam called Sequence Storm.
Never heard of that one.
It is it's a rhythm racing game. You're basically on this kind of like this futuristic kind of racing track, but you're playing it like a rhythm game, kind of like, if you're familiar with something like Guitar Hero Rock Band, but it's more like techno-y music.
Oh, okay.
Electronic music, and again, it has its own text to speech. Everything fully speaks. I mean, he's got accessibility settings for every kind of ability and disability you could possibly imagine. He keeps updating it. He's even gone so far in the story mode to where he'll give you the regular, like, the dialogue of the characters, but if there's an image of something on the screen. I was streaming it for the first time several months ago, and I'm like, wait a minute, did he just describe? He actually like almost does like a text description for the scenes of what's on the screen for like the cutscene pictures.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, it's ridiculous how accessible it is. And so there's like a regular mode which is not really accessible, but he's made a separate couple of audio modes that kind of works more like almost like a Simon Says, where he'll play like a measure and then you repeat the pattern back, because otherwise it would be super hard to just instantly hit the buttons when they came up live.
Right.
But it works super well, and there's quite a few people that are into it. So I have to shout out those two for sure.
Nice. And thank you, Earth Magic 7, much appreciated. And yeah, there's some new. You can get a face mask now at my merch shop. Just saying. Anyway, anyway, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of like face masks, I was hoping that I would be able to find one that was like, we're talking about Mortal Kombat, find one that looks like the face mask for like Sub-Zero or something. That would be cool.
What I actually just did yesterday is behind me over my right shoulder is a real size Black Series Darth Vader mask. So yesterday I took that out and I stuck a face mask over the face mask when I went out.
I joked with somebody, I'm like, dude, I should just go buy one of those Darth Vader masks with like the voice changers in it and walk around outside with that on and see how many weird looks I get from people.
Yep, I've done it.
Sweet.
This one has the voice. It's kind of weird though, because I've got my cane as well, so people are like, did this guy escape? Like, who is this?
Oh, that's so good. I would totally do that. I totally would.
Earth Magic 7 likes the rhythm games, I guess. I never played. I saw like Guitar Hero. What did you call it? Guitar Hero?
I played the hell out of Guitar Hero and Rock Band. Rock Hero Band. 2.
That's what I was trying to think of.
The original Rock Band. Yeah. My friends and I played. Oh man, we played that for a good 2-3 years. Just so good. And I like that kind of music. I'm more into rock and metal, so those games were just perfect for me.
They had a whole kit that you could, like a drum kit, a guitar.
Yep, I have it. It's in my closet somewhere. But then I'm thinking about getting rid of it though, because I actually bought. That kind of got me interested. I used to play guitar a little bit. Back in the day. I mean, just a few basic chords, but I always wanted to learn to play drums. And about 5 6 years ago, I actually, especially after playing the Rock Band thing, I'm like, I live in an apartment, but I think I can get one of these electronic drum kits.
Oh, there you go.
And so I did. Yeah, I got a Roland drum kit, and I love it. It's fun. I can hook my phone up to it and play along with it. It's awesome.
Oh, it's like one of those electronic drum pads, basically. But is it?
No, it's a full foldable trap set. It's got the snare and the toms and all the 3 cymbals.
Wow.
Yeah, no, but it just fits in the corner of your room. It's super small, compact, and the only thing that you hear is just like a little tap, tap, tap. You don't hear, because if I had a regular drum set, I'd get evicted.
Right.
So, no, it works. I love it.
That is cool. That gives me a ton of ideas.
I know, right?
They should have a keyboard hero standing. That would be kind of fun. Actually, I was thinking, I thought they did.
Rock Band 2 does support keyboards.
Okay.
They do have a keyboard. It's part of Rock Band 2, and I believe there's a Rock Band 3 that'll support it.
Awesome. See.
So, yes, they do.
Oh, there's Streamlabs, my first one that I saw. Danny says she likes the Rock Band games as well. Okay, caught up there. Yeah, so where are you going next as far as your accessibility advocacy goes?
Well, it's really kind of up in the air. I mean, I'm plugging away at the YouTube channel. I release videos. My main videos are every Wednesday and Saturday, and then on Mondays, as long as I keep having archives to put up, I stream on Mixer usually on weekends, and so I'll put up Mixer archives on Mondays, and so I'll do that, and so I do Mixer and I do YouTube. As far as the game accessibility stuff, like I said, I'm working with the XR Access group, and I've gotten a couple of quick little consulting gigs with Microsoft and some of their studios. Hopefully I'll get some more of those. Nice. And if you are a developer looking out there, looking, for, help on game accessibility, hit us up because we'll be glad to do it. To help out.
They can contact you through your website. I've got all the links, by the way, in the description box. Before I shut that out, feel free. Yeah,
I'll do that in a minute here. And then, so in addition to that, I'm actually going to be speaking. I got the presentation pretty much done, but I just kind of have to practice once or twice on. Last year I joined our local chapter of the IGDA, Independent Game Developers Association, and so I've been going to their meetings. They have it's cool because they have once a month meetings, and they have presentations, and you can show up and chat with people and developers, and you have pizza before the meetings, and so it's just a fun get together. Except for with all the current predicament we're in, it's been online the last month or so. But I'm actually going to be speaking on blind and low vision accessibility to that group on June 10th.
Nice.
If I gotta ask the main organizer of it, but especially since I'm doing it from home, from my PC, if he will allow it, if it's okay with IGDA, I'm going to try and record the session from my computer as I'm presenting to it, and then hopefully be able to upload that to my channel. I'm not going to promise anything, but that is the hope.
That would be nice.
Yeah. So I'm going to shoot for that. And beyond that, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I don't know if the Game Accessibility Conference is going to happen. It's going to be in September. I don't know if they're going to cancel it or shift it to online. Like I said, I got to go to it last year. I spoke as part of a panel last year, and it was it was just such a fun day because you got to meet game developers, and it's so cool when you actually go meet someone and oh, dude, I played your game.
Now, from what I hear, a lot of them are pretty receptive as far as hearing people and the needs. It's just a matter of implementing, I guess.
Yeah, I think I find that the indie developers are probably able to do something about it a little bit more, if not in their current game, then maybe the next one that they develop, depending on how far along they are. But I mean, especially if it's something you give them, good feedback, is you don't just write to them and say, "Oh, your game is broken. I'm blind. I can't play it." Yeah, that doesn't really help them at all. But if you can say, "Well, I'm in here and this almost works, but if the text were bigger here, and if this would read aloud, or if I could use the keyboard to navigate this, then it would work." And they're generally pretty receptive. It gets trickier when it comes to the AAA games, just because everything is done by committee, and you got the publishers and the shareholders to, there might be a few people that would love to help with the accessibility, but do the higher ups want to devote enough resources to that aspect? And the other thing you have to remember is all of these games are developed using usually one of about 3 game engines these days: Unreal, Unity, or the Cry engine. There's a couple more. I think EA uses Frostbite, but essentially these engines, until fairly recently, some of these are starting to add accessibility hooks, accessibility like features, APIs, programming interfaces, so that they can more directly interface with the game and a screen reader on a PC or a console. Like the Xbox One has narrator, the PS4 has got a limited screen reader. So if a game is developed in these engines, the engine itself may be largely the roadblock.
Yeah.
As far as getting a lot of the text-to-speech portion to work. But hopefully that is starting to change. Unreal Engine, they have a beta of a developer build where they do natively support things like JAWS and NVDA. So, but again, it's up to developers to use them, and that's what we have to get, kind of publicized and be like, hey, these things are out there. Please try to use them, implement them.
And there's so many examples. I mean, we have to look here and there. Like, for example, Ages of Empires, the mod for GTA 5 by Irvin, Pitch Black. You combine all these things and you can have a kick-ass game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Pitch Black, The Veil.
The Veil, that was another one.
That's another one that I'm looking forward to. Played the early beta of that when it was out, and that was pretty fun. I backed that one on Kickstarter. But I mean, like I said, what's giving me hope, though, is, like I said, even though some of these current games are not like fully playable, the fact that we're getting as much of the speech port, like right now, it's kind of like, okay, we're getting to the point where they can make the game talk. And even something as complex as Age of Empires, Gears Tactics, that's one I just downloaded today, that is supposed to have a similar level of text-to-speech as Age of Empires does. Mm-hmm. But there still might be some like navigation and playability issues for totally blind users, but I plan to check that out here in the near future to see. But I mean, the fact that we're getting this far, once enough companies have figured that portion of it out, then they're like, oh, okay, we've got the speech part down. Now, how do we make it so a blind player can navigate the world, be it like a flat map like Age of Empires, or an open world game like Grand Theft Auto or Saints Row, or an action or racing game, shooter, first person shooter.
Escape from Tarkov. Have you played that game?
I've heard of it. What is it again? I'm trying to remember.
Oh my god, dude! This is the only game that I cannot play that I will listen to for hours and hours and hours with my audio technicas, because you can hear it. It's as if it was VR, at least for audio sound wise. But from what I hear, the graphics, Premiere.
Is that a PC game?
It's PC. Yep.
What was it called?
Escape from Tarkov.
Let me see if it's on the old Steam. Escape from Tar.
It's Russian, so I think it's like Tarkov.
I'll have to look.
But it is so intense. It's a first person. You can go in with teams. You can go in solo. There's many different maps that you can choose from, and you gotta buy and assemble your guns. You gotta buy the parts for the guns and assemble them, and you conduct raids, just everything. But just again, the sound, Every single gun has its own sound. Obviously, it's that real. Like loading bullets will take in real time how long it takes to load the bullets and that sort of thing. It's just I can't talk enough about it. I'll sit there for hours and hours late at night listening to it.
And another game that has really great audio. I got to mention them because they're just fun, and I've been addicted to them for the last 10 years. The Left 4 Dead series.
The what series?
Left 4 Dead 1 and 2.
Left 4 Dead.
It's so good because every one of the special enemies has their own musical cue and their own sound effects. So you can tell when they're coming. They have silhouettes around all of the items that you're looking for, or your characters, so you know where your teammates are. There's just so many little subtle things, both with audio and visual assistance, that as a low vision gamer, I mean, when I heard about the game, I was super intrigued about it, but I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to play this. It's going to be this team game. It's going to be awful. And then I learned about some of these cues and things, and I tried it, and I've just been absolutely hooked on it ever since. It's so good.
Yeah.
And the original developers are making a spiritual successor called Back 4 Blood.
Interesting. Yeah, I always heard a lot of good. I can't remember who it was, but
probably Riley.
Was she big into Left 4 Dead?
Oh yeah,
it must be her.
Yep.
Then. Yeah, so she was talking.
Yeah,
about
it was. I think I listened to the episode where she was on there, and yeah, she loves. Yeah, she loves Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, it's cool to see people really passionate about at least a particular game, because then we can all provide our individual perspectives and accessibility needs, at least in our cases, for how we could make a game. And you're saying like how could they do it, like at least for the blind aspect? Hire me, I'm here, hire me, I would love to play games and tell you what's wrong.
And that's what I do. I put my name out there on social media and be like, hey, if you guys want to hire me, like I said, I'm open for consulting or whatever. Oh, there's another project you might be interested in. There's a guy, Alan, shout out buddy, I forget your last name. I've been talking with him over the past several months, and people are still making, believe it or not, mods for my favorite game of all time, the original Doom.
No way.
And you ought to go check out my channel, because I recently did a video. There's a mod being in development. It's not done yet. There are still some issues of like kind of being able to get around and whatever. But he is developing, it's called the Toby Accessibility Mod. And he's putting together to where you can play Doom levels totally by audio. Nice. And he has one level developed so far, and like I said, there are a few things that still I think need to be implemented to make the navigation a little bit more clear, but I'll do a quick little spoiler alert, but I'll say in my video I turned off my monitor and I was able to beat the level.
Oh man. Okay.
It's called the Toby Accessibility Mod. It's freaking rad. Because Doom is like my favorite game of all time.
Mod. Yeah, I got Doom right after. I don't know if you remember Wolfenstein 3D, but that was what got me into those first-person shooters, was Wolfenstein.
Yes, that I played the hell out of Wolfenstein 3D and Doom. That's what got me hooked into PC gaming. Yeah. I still play both today, and there's a mod for both of them. And you get this what they call a source port mod called GZ Doom, and then you can put like mod files into it. And there's these remember when Doom in the 90s had all that controversy? It was blamed for everything, along with Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
There's a mod called Brutal Doom, and they've made a few versions of it, like Brutal Doom, Brutal Wolfenstein. And it basically amps, like you thought Doom was crazy as it is, like Brutal Doom ramps it up to like 12. And it's so ridiculously over the top violent that it adds like this extra metal soundtrack, and it's just so epic.
Nice.
And it's like, if it's kind of like it brings it to the level that's what parents were imagining when they thought the original Doom when it came out.
Yeah. Or like
I still play
for Mortal Kombat
regularly. What's that?
Like the blood code for Mortal Kombat. Remember that?
Oh yeah, Mortal Kombat 1 and then Mortal Kombat 2 and beyond. Just you didn't even need it.
Yeah. But you know what? Whatever. Blame it on
Brutal
the
Doom
game.
is good.
I'm gonna have to check that out for sure.
I've done a lot of videos and a lot of we've streamed it quite a bit.
Nice.
So those are archived on the channel as well. Yep, I love that game so much.
Well, it looks like you convinced Danny to go out and get Left 4 Dead because she's all about the audio cues, so that's cool.
Yep, it is a visual game. You do need some vision to be able to play it, but depending on how much vision you have, it's if you can play it, it's a fantastic game.
Yeah.
Left 4 Dead 2, you may as well just get Left 4 Dead 2 because Left 4 Dead 2 has all of the Left 4 Dead 1 campaigns in it.
Oh, nice.
So you basically get all of the content from 1 into 2.
Yeah, Danny, I just added those alert chat messages for Streamlabs. That's why. I went through last night and spent hours and hours reconfiguring and re-scripting the game messages, so that's why it's actually working now. So, yes, Danny. Huge Doom fan. I love Doom too. Like,
Wolfenstein and Doom are both
this is just one of those pivotal games in gaming history that set the future of gaming, kind of.
And a couple of months ago, Doom Eternal just came out, which is completely ridiculous. I'm almost to the end, but it's getting so damn hard right now. Yeah,
so is
Doom
that
Eternal.
one of the mods would work? Or the Toby's accessible mod, would that work for Eternal, or is that just the regular Doom?
No, that's the original Doom.
Oh, okay.
It actually works with Doom 2. You have to... I kind of explain it and give the links in the video description, but you have to have what they call WAD files, WAD files. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of what they use to... you can make custom content, or that's what the game loads for data.
Right.
And you have to download a source port like GZ Doom, which is free. You have to own the original game, the full game, which you can get on Steam or Good Old Games. Go to GOG.com. And then you have to have Doom, you have to have the GZ Doom add-on, and then you just kind of put in the Toby accessibility mod on top of it, and you run it with Doom 2.
Okay.
And what it does is currently it's only one level. So what it does is it replaces the level 1 of Doom 2 with the accessible level.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Nice.
Have you checked out Sable?
Check out what?
Sable.
No, not yet. I've been meaning to. I've been meaning to do so many games, but just, I don't know. It's been so busy.
Oh, I know. Same here. I'm kind of trying to play catch up in the last week or so, and I have this pile of shame that's a mile high.
The other issue too that I have is being able to stream from my PC. I have yet to figure out because Streamlabs just can't do it for some reason.
I use OBS.
Use what?
OBS.
Yeah, that's even worse than Streamlabs. For a screen reader user, that is.
Yeah, I haven't. Admittedly, I've tinkered with it a tiny bit with a screen reader, but I cheat like hell and I use magnification.
Yeah, that's why I love Ecamm. Everything is accessible. Well, most of it is accessible. I can set up my scenes and transitions and all that stuff, just like OBS. Mm-hmm. But I was actually just thinking about, the next thing that I could do is get like a video capture card and then going from the PC to my Mac. If that'll work, I don't know, but I'm going to try to break something up.
Yeah, admittedly, even making videos or streaming, I just do the kind of the most basic kind of ghetto operation. I just kind of turn it on and go, man. Mm-hmm. I can make it work. And I kind of, honestly, when I started the YouTube thing, a lot of where I got my inspiration was, and because the pre-packaged, the scripted video reviews and stuff that some websites would do, I'm not a super fan of those. The ones that I really started to like and where I got a lot of my inspiration from was if you followed Giant Bomb at all.
Never heard of it.
Giant Bomb, they were guys that came from the GameSpot days, and they left and they started Jeff Gersman, Brad Shoemaker. But they do these videos called Quick Looks, and they're not really quick. They're just kind of like my low vision or my spotlight videos. They could be anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour or better, but basically it's just you turn the camera on, you play a game, and you show it as is. If it's great, it's great. If it craps out on you, well, guess what? Then people get to learn that.
Exactly.
And so I've really started to like that type of thing, and so that's where I drew a lot of my kind of inspiration for doing the channel. And admittedly, I'm kind of lazy, so I didn't want to do all that other stuff, so it worked out.
Yeah, I can't even get my game bar to work for some reason. I can't even figure that out on the PC.
Game bar is weird. When I first started streaming to Mixer, that was what got me into streaming, because I thought, oh, Windows 10, like, I don't have to download anything. I shouldn't have to configure anything. I can hit Windows G and I can go to record. But I had so much trouble where some streams would be great, and then others, like, it would cut off halfway through, or the stream would stop, or the stream would go through, but then it didn't archive, and then and I kept losing videos, and I got so mad that last year, right around when Rage 2 came out, I'm like, all right, fine, I guess I got to go get OBS and try it. Mm-hmm. And I've been using OBS ever since, and it's pretty much worked flawlessly.
Yeah. Huge Dune fan. Read that one. Earth Magic. I subbed earlier today. Thank you, Earth Magic. She subbed to your channel, that is.
Awesome. Thank you much. Much appreciated.
Yes. More gore. I'm going to check this out. Looks like Danny's going to subscribe as well. The link is in the description box below if you guys can click on it. Well, you did good, kid. LOL.
And everything is divided into playlists, so I try to keep everything organized by, like, iOS, like blind iOS games or low vision iOS games, and then I have one playlist for, blind accessible PC games, like, and low vision games, and then VR accessibility. I have several playlists for, like, experiences and games and VR accessibility in general.
Speaking of turning on and just letting it go and play.
Mm-hmm.
Because of you, my friend, I did over a 4-hour video playing frickin' Life Simulator.
Nah.
That game, I couldn't stand it, but I couldn't put it down.
Kept playing. There's been a few of those. I think I've topped out at like 3 hours and something on a stream. I don't know if I've ever gone over 4 yet.
That was crazy. I didn't even know it. Like, I don't know what.
Oh yeah, you get into a game and you just fly by.
Yeah.
I think I'm my highest is like right around 3.5.
TOM, cool. Oh yeah, for the new members, don't forget you get to use your special emojis by typing the special emoji code. Danny, I subbed at the beginning. Oh, cool. We got a couple new subs. That's awesome. Yeah, the whole gaming thing. I don't know if you know of Little Red Gamer, but she does a lot of those low vision Left 4 Dead type of games as well. And actually, she was talking about Eagle Island. Is it called?
Yeah, Eagle Island. Yeah, came out last year.
She's big on that game too.
Yeah, it's just really, really cool. Like the amount of access. And what's so impressive is like a lot of these games, like, and Sequence Storm is made by one guy too.
Oh wow.
These guys, like, it's amazing because these developers, you get like 1 or 2 people and they're just absolutely killing it.
Yeah.
As far as like, I mean, and not just blind accessibility, like, when one of the other cool things about Sequence Storm is like when Riley was up here, she would play Sequence Storm and she had hearing loss in one ear, so it was harder for her to hear some of the sounds in some of the sound effects for audio cues, and you could actually adjust some of the sound effect panning so it would come in better on the other ear.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I mean, there's like low vision, colorblind keyboard, control mapping, and just, I mean, there's literally a whole page of accessibility features in that game. It's incredible.
That is really cool. Yeah, like I was saying before, accessibility has come so far so quick. Like, think about it, it's only been 10 years, really. Well, no, 15. 15 or 14. 3GS is what I'm thinking of as far as like an iPhone voiceover, that type of screen
2007
reader.
was when that 2007 was when that happened. I didn't come in until the 4S. I was rocking an old school Windows mobile phone, man. Mobile Speak.
Yep, I had a Pantech Duo with Mobile Speak.
Mobile Speak Pocket.
I don't know if it was Pocket, but it was...
I had the touchscreen one where you had like the 4 quadrants.
Oh, no. This was a dual slider phone.
Oh, okay, yeah. Mine was it was a slide-out QWERTY keyboard, but it actually had like you did. It would be so weird. I don't know if I would remember how to do it now, but like you would tap different quadrants in certain sequences to do things
Oh, interesting.
because it wasn't, like a. I mean, iOS totally changed how touchscreen
Oh yeah.
could work for a blind person, but like it worked.
I remember when I first lost my sight in 2003. The first thing that I was looking for was an accessible cell phone. Because I always remember hearing people when they would touch their cell phone keypads, you could hear a voice. Usually it was the LG or the Nokia phones. You would hear a female voice say the numbers, but that was it. So I was on the hunt forever. And finally in 2004, I found the Nokia 3360, which took the first version of Talks.
Yes.
It was a weird phone because the keyboard layout was basically a rotary phone layout. It was in a circle.
Oh, weird. What?
It was very. If you can find it online, Nokia 3360. Take a look at it. You'll be like,
weird.
How weird, and especially for
Why
a
would you
blind
put
person.
it in a rotary press? Why would you ever do that?
I don't know. I couldn't figure it out, but it talked to me, so I bought it.
Right. Weird.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I got my first cell phone in 2003, but it wasn't a talking one. I had this really crappy Samsung one that didn't get any reception, and then I got like this LG flip phone. My first talking one was a HTC 6700 Windows mobile phone, and I had
Nice.
Mobile Speak Pocket. The thing is a brick. I mean, this thing is chunky. I think I still have it on my desk drawer.
I think my favorite one, well, at least with a phone screen reader, I would have to, because you get Talks and then you had Mobile Speaks.
Mhm.
Talks for me was the Nokia 8860 metal flip phone, and then the Pantech Duo for Windows-based Mobile Speaks.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, and like if I didn't already own Mobile Speak and I had paid for that already, I almost wanted to jump ship to a Symbian phone because when that first, I forget the model of the phone. When the first actual phone version of KNFB Reader came out, I'm like, oh, I want that.
The Nokia N90.
N82.
N82. Yeah.
N82.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm like, God, if I didn't already own Mobile Speak, I would totally jump on that. And then it came to the iPhone eventually, and then Voice Stream Scanner came out, and life was beautiful.
When was it? It was right before they went to 5G. I think last year, mainstream, whatever. And no, was it 5G? They moved completely off the GSM and CDMA towers to go to the 5G, right? And I had just bought off of eBay for $15 the Nokia flip phone that I loved back in the day and I even the 8860, the flip phone. I even contacted Mobile Speaks to ask I got my user ID NFCX717. I got my user code. I got it working for about a month, and then boom, they couldn't activate it because the towers had switched.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think, like I said, I have at least 2 phones in my drawer. I'd have to charge them up again, but I bet you they still work, and they're probably still licensed for Mobile Speak. Like, I could probably turn them on and navigate the operating system, which might be funny to do in a video eventually one day. I'm like, dude, check this out. This,
right?
I've thought about it.
I think that would be cool. I know I still got the Mobile Speaks on mine as well. It's just...
Because, let's see, I think... I should have a Touch Pro 2 and a 67. Let's see. There's my old iPhone. But yeah, I think in this drawer, I think I have an old Touch Pro 2 and a 6700 brick.
That's funny. Oh, is Heist not working, guys? It was working last night, and that's why I stopped the test stream last night, so... Let me try it really quick, because it should be working.
I gotta love technology. It's great, except for when it isn't.
This is the favorite game of everybody, so I don't know why this is the only one that stops working. And I just basically reset the whole thing last night. But they're silly little games. But what I'm going to do is, after a few runs, I'm going to figure out how quickly people gain points, and then I'll set a point level for once a month where people can try to get, let's say, I don't know, 1,000,000 points, 1,000,000 credits to whatever, and they can get a free t-shirt or a coffee mug or something. There we go. See, Heist is working. It's all Star Wars based, by the way.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I still haven't even watched a lot of the new stuff yet. I haven't watched Mandalorian or Episode 9 yet.
Oh man, I didn't watch Episode 9 until last week because of Episode 7 and 8. I was so disappointed. Like, I went back a couple times and gave them their respect as far as the name goes to try to get into them. But dude, Episode 9 completely redeems it.
See, I've heard mixed things. I've heard some people love it and some people hate it.
Completely redeems it. But Mandalorian, woo! That's the show to watch. That's an amazing show, especially the Sky version.
It's good. And I have Disney Plus, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I've been binging off and on for the last couple months. I've been kind of binging Simpsons episodes.
Oh man, are you watching it on YouTube by any chance, or are you?
They're on Disney.
Oh, they're on Disney now too?
Yeah, the whole shebang is on Disney. And then somebody, not going to name any names, but showed up on Twitter that they actually added Breaking Bad audio description on Netflix.
Nice.
So I ended up having to plow through that again in the last week and a half.
Breaking Bad.
Oh, it's so good.
Like, how many seasons they got? Like 8?
5.
Oh, 5. Okay.
Yep, the series is done, and it's so good.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Highly recommended, because it gets, especially with season 4 and 5, it gets nuts.
Danny says she didn't even know all these things existed. She had a couple of brick phones with the green screens. You remember the, the dot matrix looking? Remember Snake on the old phones?
Oh yeah. I had that on my Samsung.
Oh, man.
Couldn't hardly see it, so I never played it, but yeah.
That was such an addicting game, too. And then, oh, man. Yeah. Tech has come so far. I mean, for the crowd who grew up or was born, let's say, post-2002, they don't even know what Palm Pilot is. Like, we had...
Oh, yeah.
We had Dope Wars and... Junk Monkey on PDAs back in the day in the 90s.
I wanted to get a PDA back in the day, but I didn't because A, they weren't accessible, and B, the screens were usually really horrible. Yeah. And until later on, remember when PDAs actually had a volatile memory where, like, if you let that thing completely die, everything on it was wiped.
Yep.
I'm like, no, I don't have the patience for that. No, so I'm like, I'm not getting something like that.
The first one that I got that had a removable memory card was the Palm Pilot 5. It was like, it was megabytes. I want to say like 64 megabytes.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean that's large.
But for back then, that was big.
Oh, absolutely. I remember when I got a computer and I had like 1.2 gigs of hard drive space. I'm like, dude, I have more hard drive space than I'll ever need in my lifetime.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. I did a diorama not too long ago of the advancement of storage space, whether it be hard drive or external. And so I got one of those 6-inch floppies, and then I got the 3.5 floppy, and it just kept getting smaller and smaller, and the size kept getting bigger and bigger.
Well, the funny thing is, like I said, I need to clone myself like 5 times because there's so many things I want to be able to do. You know, I mentioned Sable, and it's an audio RPG creation tool, and like I'm in the process of trying to come up with like a story so that when the game comes out, I can build my own RPG for people to play. But when you mention like that kind of history thing, one of the other ideas that I've actually developed an outline for, but I just God only knows if and when I'm going to get around to it, is in the last couple of years I've actually thought about just writing some sort of a kind of like an informal history, kind of like a biography in a way, but like almost like a history of technology.
That'd be cool.
Of kind of like a book that's like a history of kind of like both some sort of mainstream and assistive technology, and just kind of tying it to like how things have changed and how amazing it's gotten, especially for somebody who is blind or visually impaired.
Yeah, I mean that would be amazing. Like most people don't even realize these days that when computers first came out, there were no mice.
Oh yeah,
everything
good
was
old DOS, baby.
Yeah, everything was DOS commands. Like you just apply that, and then I think there was something that you were saying on one of your videos about the lack of keyboard interaction with something. I believe it was one of your videos.
Yeah, probably Age of Empires 2 when we were looking at that.
Yeah, so because you were talking about how it's heavily mouse driven, and so they kind of, for some reason, that concept doesn't compute in my brain, because computers aren't based off user movement; they're based off internal, ones and zeros. So
right,
it confuses my brain. I don't know why.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing is like we've gone like in my lifetime, like I'm really kind of glad I grew up at the time that I did, just because the things that I've seen from like just like a plain block on the screen with the Atari 2600 and like Apple II, and now we have basically like the entire world in the palm of our hand with our smartphones now. I mean, just the journey we took to get here has just been like, man, it's crazy.
It has come a long way. Like now, like the iPhones, the Duel 500 gig, or I mean, it's. I'm guessing the iPhone 12 is going to have a terabyte. Like, who knows?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and not even just storage, but I mean, like the things that I can do. Like, I mean, I again, that's why I'm sort of thinking about this whole book idea, is like going from just super struggling in, elementary school, high school, that kind of a thing, and to where we are now. If I would have had half the stuff we have now, it would have been so much better.
Yeah.
I mean, independently, it's in a lot of ways, it's easy to, like, I can live independently, I can shop, I can pay my bills, I can, use public transportation. Things like Uber and Lyft are amazing. I can go with all the tools that are out there. Like, there's really no, if you want to do it, you can get out there and work.
Especially if you're in school. I mean, when I was after I lost my sight in 2003, like I said, I went back to. I was actually in school when I lost my sight for graphic design and engineering mechanics and game design. Okay. And so I lost my sight. And I was like, I've always been an artist, creative type of person. So when I went back to school, the first thing that they offered me was a note taker. I was like, what's a note taker? So I learned it, find out it's like a $5,000 piece of machine. They just give them away like they're Tic Tacs.
Yeah.
Imagine that back in the day if we had those.
Yeah, I know. I had a Braille and Speak way back in the day. That was like the original.
Oh, yeah.
But once I got into an actual laptop, I never really looked back, just because that's a whole other topic I won't get into, because I'm not a huge fan of note takers, but personally,
I'm not either. It's just another thing to carry.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, they're so bloody expensive, and it's like, hey, we're running Android 4.3, and we're only on version 10 now, so...
Right?
Yeah.
Earth Magic for work, Danny. I just rewatched Breaking Bad. That's hilarious. She's a huge fan of Star Wars 7, 8, and 9, by the way. Earth Magic. Yes, I like the score quite a lot. Score of what? Oh, yes.
Probably GTA.
Standing, I missed Standing. She said the score of The Mandalorian has been great, and that's what Earth Magic said yes to. I agree, actually. Plus,
Yeah, I do got to get
do
one
you
of these days.
do you watch your movies or TV shows with description or no?
It depends. A lot of times I won't, but for certain types of things, and especially if the describer is halfway decent,
Well, yeah.
I might.
Yeah.
Because especially shows that have like some subtitles for foreign languages, or if there's a lot of things happening where there's just like a lot of sound effects, and like sometimes it can, like even Breaking Bad, there were things that I missed. Like I watched it when it came out or as it came out. And I got most of it, but there are just little subtle things in there that that I didn't pick up on. I was like, oh, that's actually pretty interesting.
Right.
So yeah, I've started using it a little bit more now, often just because I get a lot of my media from Amazon, and they've been doing a pretty good job of actually adding a lot of audio description if you rent or buy a movie from them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's surprising actually.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
It's video, yeah.
Earth Magic says DOS was good stuff. I miss the days of DOS, honestly. Like, I'll go use Terminal every once in a while just for the nostalgia of it, you know?
Oh, yeah. Just don't do what I did one time where, like, there was a time where I was in Windows 95, 98, when it's like, I could do the Windows stuff, but I still love to do most things in DOS.
Yeah.
And I was in a hurry, and I was like, oh, I'm going to move this from here to here.
Uh-oh, did you move a RAV file?
No, I ended up, I was going to move something from an entire directory, and I ended up actually moving my whole Windows directory and bricking my machine. No. I had to reformat with fdisk, and many bad words were said, and I was not a happy person.
I mean, that's why they gave it the F directory, was the fdisk, so that's why.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I was like, because I thought, well, I opened the prompt, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to move this game, I'm going to move this folder to this folder, and I moved, and I just said, move star.star. I'm like, oh God, no, what did because I'm like, it wasn't that many files, and all of a sudden I just saw this stream of files shooting up my screen. I'm like, oh shit.
That sucks, dude.
You only make that mistake once.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Nice roll, says Danny. Earth Magic, sweet. They're playing games right now. Yeah, she also loves The Mandalorian. I can't wait for the next season to start up. It seems like it's what, 8? Yeah, 8 episodes, boom, gone.
Oh yeah, they go really fast, especially if you get sucked in. There's a couple other ones that I've been hearing about lately. I don't know exactly what it's about, but it's called Upload. It's on Amazon Prime.
Upload. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's something about like where, like when you die, you can upload yourself to some, like, your personality or something to some VR thing, or I don't remember what it is. Oh, if you want a good tech series, watch Black Mirror.
I've heard that so many times. I got it.
Black Mirror, and it has audio description on Netflix. It's so freaking nuts. It's good.
Okay.
There's some episodes that are a little less than others, but when there's some good episodes, man, there's some great episodes in Black Mirror.
Yeah, I was talking about Fringe. I don't know if you ever watched Fringe, but that's the closest.
It's on my list.
Yeah, that was I don't know if it's described, but
not sure.
But that's probably one of my favorite. I don't know if you would call that a long-lasting series, but it was 7 seasons. But
that's long enough. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed Fringe.
It's one that I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Black Mirror, man.
I'm gonna check that out.
And Silicon Valley. If you want a comedy, watch Silicon Valley, because oh my God, is that hilarious?
Oh yeah. Danny.
It's actually by Mike Judge, so he does the Office thing. Yeah, it's basically Mike Judge made a cynical Silicon Valley parody, essentially, of like. Oh yeah,
I like his work actually. King of the Hill.
Yeah, he did Office Space, Beavis and Butthead, but yeah, I mean he took the Office Space thing into the whole, like, I forget how many seasons there are, but it's funny.
Okay.
It's an HBO thing.
Gotcha. Have you ever heard of Altered Carbon?
I tried to watch that and I just couldn't get into it.
Okay, I'd never heard of that one.
I started reading the book, and I never got into the book or the Amazon made his first season of a series about it.
Yeah.
I should try it again, but I just never could get into it.
Again, you guys, if you have any specific questions for Jesse here, now is the time, because we are going to start wrapping it up pretty soon.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, definitely. If I have any questions, I'll do the best I can.
Again, your website and stuff, you never did get that out.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can follow me in a lot of different places. The main place, I guess, the main hub for everything is my extremely basic website. You can just go to IllegallySighted.com. And it's got like the YouTube channel and all the links to things that I've been doing on there. But the main thing that I do is youtube.com/IllegallySighted, and that'll take you to my channel. If you want to follow me on Mixer, it is mixer.com/BGFH. And Twitter is at BGFH79. I will post a lot of things there when I go live on Mixer, when I upload or release videos. And I just, generally do a lot of retweeting and post a few things and ramblings and
nice
stuff there. So I'm pretty active on Twitter. And I don't do the whole Facebook thing. I have an account, but I'm lucky if I check it once a year. So there's that.
How has your experience been with Mixer? I can't get the damn thing to work. And I don't know if I'm just being a ding-dong or what.
Well, like I said, for Mixer, I've kind of just been like, I've been doing OBS for the actual streaming. So once I get the Mixer credentials plugged into OBS, that part works fine.
You don't have to worry about it.
And then for for checking chat, what I basically do, for a while, Riley was up here and she would basically chat moderate and kind of read chat comments. So that was pretty handy. But now that I'm kind of alone again, by myself here, what I do is I'll just have the stream on I'll open the Mixer app on my iPhone and then pause the video. I'll pause the video, but the chat will still be live.
Yeah.
And so I try to keep monitoring the chat that way.
That's exactly how I'm doing YouTube right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot easier, because if you try to monitor the chat on the computer, VoiceOver at least, in Safari,
right,
or even Google Chrome, you've got like 5 lines. It'll say the username, then it'll say the time, then it'll say if they're a member, if they're a moderator, then you'll get to the message, and then it repeats itself.
Yeah, the Mixer app generally works pretty well. There's a couple little minor quirks to it, but I mean, overall, for watching streams or just, verifying that you're live and then keeping up with the chat, it generally works pretty well.
Okay.
Pretty well. So I started streaming, well, actually about a year ago, because I think it was whenever Rage 2 came out, and I think it was like in May or June. When Rage 2 came out, that's when it was a little bit before that, because I was doing like City of Brass, I think was my first. So yeah, it's been a little over a year. So I've been doing that, so.
Cool. Yeah, Mixer, I would like to try Mixer. I haven't even been able to successfully watch anything on Mixer, and I don't know what it is.
Huh. I mean, the iOS app generally does work really well.
That's what I was hearing. That's what Riley told me about.
And, I've thought about going. I know most people still do go to Twitch. It's kind of a thing. I guess a couple of reasons I started with Mixer is kind of just because, like you said, they had the game bar, and that integrated directly with Mixer. So I'm like, well, let's just try this streaming thing and see if it works. And I also, Microsoft is kind of doing a lot as far as improving overall accessibility for a lot of their products. And so I kind of wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt and be like, let's give Mixer a shot, because they've been doing a lot of great stuff with narrator, and narrator is actually getting pretty dang competent right now. It's actually getting pretty good. And magnifier, I use that every single day, and I love it. I've actually been on this low vision advisory board, just kind of in my spare time, participating with that with Microsoft as well for the past 2 years or so. So, yeah, I said it's. So it's not just all gaming and VR. It's if it's. I'm kind of bouncing around everywhere.
I put out an article on my blog a while back. kind of trying to draw attention to. Actually, this was last August when Google Hangouts announced they weren't going to be connecting the API to YouTube Live. And a lot of blind people kind of freaked out because Hangouts was, at that time, for Mac, was the only way to go live. And so I was on this scramble to figure something out. And, I went from Zoom Pro to go live. And that's when I found StreamYard, and it just kind of exploded from there. But anyway, I put out an article talking about the lack of, at that time, what I could find, advocates or people interested in accessible streaming apps, because I'd been contacting people like Streamlabs, OBS, and regular old OBS, and I would get initial contact. Streamlabs was very unhelpful.
Yeah,
OBS
one of my pet peeves with just, I contact a lot of companies and a lot of things like that, and I think like it's almost worse when, like, I don't know what's worse, but like it almost feels worse when, instead of getting no reply, you just get like a carbon copy, like, we thank you for your time and consideration. We will pass this on to the blah 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 blah. Like, right. And it's just like, they're just humoring you, and that's just not going to go anywhere. It's just, that's one of the most frustrating things, but you got to keep doing it.
That's why I was and why I'm actually using Streamlabs now is because the response that I got from Streamlabs last year, it wasn't that automated response. It wasn't a placated response. It was like, hey, we can't afford it. Sorry. Bye-bye. It's like, what can you say? It's like, okay, thank you.
I have mixed feelings on that. Like, to a degree, yes, I get it, but also I don't know if I fully buy that in a way.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. But now, I can do most of Streamlabs. Now, not broadcasting, but everything else. I can set up a lot of the alert boxes, all that little stuff just from the browser. There's still quite a few things that I need eyeballs for. But once it's set up, you're pretty much good with Streamlabs. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But other than that, I was surprised at the lack of attention. And I guess it's just, I probably know maybe a handful personally of YouTubers who are low vision or blind who actually do live streams in the first place. So that's another thing. I can think of a few. There's probably, as far as blind and low vision, I could probably name about a half a dozen or better off the top of my head. That I know do. I don't know. I think a lot of them stream via Twitch. I don't know that they do Mixer or YouTube, but I know they have YouTube channels that they upload stuff to. But I think most of them stream via Twitch. Okay, gotcha.
But like I said, I can think of at least probably a good half a dozen or better. So it's starting to become a thing.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep, and I know I know at least two or three of them.
Oh, cool. You mentioned, now that I just thought about it, speaking of game accessibility, the Game Accessibility Conference.
Yes.
I didn't hear about that until I heard you talk about it before, but can you give a quick breakdown on what's involved with that? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, so the Game Accessibility Conference, it started in 2017. I had heard about it because, like I said, I met Ian Hamilton. He is one of the co-founders of it. He and... Oh, God, why can't I remember your name? I'm sorry, lady. I can't remember your name, but they started this Game Accessibility Conference, and it's short. They shorten it for #GAConf. GACONF.
Okay.
And it's basically, it started out as a once a year day where they actually they until this year they held it the Monday of the Game Developer Conference week. And the reason they did that was they had it in basically this auditorium in the, what was it, the childhood, it's like some childhood center that was next door to where they were having GDC. And since all these game developers were coming there that week anyway, it was like, well, hey, can we lure a few of them over to get them interested in game accessibility? So they would basically have a full day of panels or of sessions, and like they would have, you know, one or two people speaking for each session, and then each year they would have one panel, and that would be, you know, like a panel of actual gamers. With, like, when I did it last year, I was invited to come down and be part of the blind low vision panel. So they didn't, the first couple of years they didn't stream the conference online, and they did release some of the videos on their YouTube channel. I think they're pretty much all up there now. But then last year, 2019, they did their conference as usual in, what was it, March? Yeah, March. And I went down for that. And then last year they actually started a European version in Europe, and that was in October, I believe it was. And the October's conference was the first time they actually streamed it live. So I was psycho and decided, hey, I'm going to watch this sucker. But it was, you know, so late. So I literally got up at 3 a.m, kind of just stumbled out of bed, grabbed some caffeine, and just kind of sat there and just binged on, you know, a good several hours of game accessibility sessions. And they've been great. It's really cool. Like, when I was there was a whole pretty much auditorium full of people in the game industry, and then they always have a social, kind of a little social get together, kind of a party afterwards, and you just get to go mingle with people and chat with them. And like I said, it was a fantastic experience. They moved it back to September this year, and it's going to be in Seattle somewhere. But I don't know. I don't know if they have an exact date yet. And with the whole pandemic thing going on right now, I don't know if it's going to end up being canceled or if they're going to try to pull off an online version, which I would totally be down with.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's funny. I've been working from home since like March 16th. And I have gone to more virtual conferences and webinars in the last 2 months than, oh my God, it's been ridiculous. It's been great because I've learned a lot, but I'm like, man. And actually, they've got one tomorrow. They've got, not the Game Accessibility Conference, but there's one, what is it called? Some kind of accessibility camp, they're calling it. I forget what it's called. I tweeted about it earlier today. But it's, I think it's like a 6-ish hour accessibility camp. So I'll just roll out of bed and check that out tomorrow.
There you go. Where's that at?
It's a virtual thing. It's just an online, like, you register online and you just, I think they give you I don't remember if it's a Zoom thing or if it's I don't remember what they use. They give you a link to click anyway. And so you just watch it, and then, so yeah, I mean, there's stuff happening all the time. Like, there's webinars and virtual conferences and all kinds of stuff happening.
Yep.
Everywhere.
Nice. Well, that's all I've got. I mean, you're more than welcome to hang around. They're just playing games right now in the chat. Looks like Heist is actually finally working. And yes, Standing, you get credits for just watching the stream. And they do carry over from show to show, just so you guys know, by the way. If you like supporting, blah, 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 blah. Yep, and as you guys know, all the links for Illegally Sighted is in the description box below. Website, YouTube, what was there? Twitter and Mixer. That was it.
Yep. Yep, and then the actual website, like I said, IllegallySighted.com will just basically give you everything. It's a very, very, very primitive website that I'm kind of embarrassed about, but it's got the info there, and that's about it.
I went to your website and I was looking for maybe like a Illegally Sighted logo to use for the thumbnail, and there's nothing. I was like,
I need a graphic designer. I am not graphically inclined. I would love to have like a YouTube banner or like some kind of a graphic for Illegally Cited. I don't know what it would be, but yeah, no, I've been thinking about that. And if you know anybody,
Yeah, everybody in my chat right now can do it, actually. So I'm sure someone, if anybody wants to offer a little bit of time, that would be awesome. I'd appreciate it. Matter of fact, I will give right now 1 million galactic credits to someone that wants to help out Jesse here. That would be awesome. Or at least contact, and you guys can communicate and see what you can do for each other. That would be really cool.
Yeah, because I've thought about having some sort of a logo right now, like a logo for Illegally Cited, or having like a banner or something. Even then, like a banner I could put on the top of the website or something, just to get something up there.
Yeah.
But I just don't really have anything, and I'm just using my Doom Guy logo for my avatar these days because it's cool and Doom Guy is cool. So
the only problem with that, though, I think, unless you had someone make it for you, it's a lot of images have copyrights on them.
That's the main issue. That's the main thing is like, I mean, it doesn't I don't think people care if you use it for like a forum avatar or things like that, but if you have it for like a commercial thing, then I don't put it on. Last year when I went to the Game Accessibility Conference, I did actually make up business cards, but I didn't put any logos or anything on for that very reason. So yeah, I made business cards last year, and that's why I don't use it in a lot of places. Just kind of I just want it for like a Twitter avatar or a YouTube avatar or something like that. But
Danny,
yeah, I don't even know what I'd want a picture to be. That's the thing is I don't know what Illegally Cited. I don't know.
Yeah, what would you convey as far as a small image to convey Illegally Cited plus everything you do?
I mean, going with the Doom theme, it would be kind of funny if I had somebody create like a, like a drawn or like a, like an artist made a good image of like the Doom guy. He's got a white cane in one hand and the shotgun in the other hand or something. Yeah. I don't know. It's just that'd be pretty funny. That'd be pretty funny, actually.
Danny says she can help out with your website. She uses the WordPress framework and she does some basic Photoshop. Let's see what else. Excellent stream. Thanks for the game ideas, says Earth Magic. No, thank you. One of my members. Much appreciated. So it looks like Danny might be able to help you out with at least with your website. So that'd be cool.
Yeah. Right now I'm kind of using, because I got a deal on it, and it works low vision wise, but blind accessibility is kind of a nightmare. I got a deal on basically for a domain and then the website stuff. I'm just going through Squarespace right now. And it's kind of really visual and kind of jank if you're I've learned my way around it, but it's interesting to say the least.
Yeah. I don't even know when I started using it, and actually the school that I went to become a accessible instructor, there's actually courses on not only HTML coding but also WordPress, and so WordPress is actually really accessible once you know the general conceptual ideas of how it works.
Sure.
They also have an accessibility plugin for visitors to your website, so that's really cool, like contrasting larger, smaller fonts, that sort of thing. So that's pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah, it was just a matter of I just wanted to basically have essentially nothing fancy, but just a thing that would say here's the website, here's the Twitter, here's a little blurb. I've got a little blog section that I don't update nearly often enough. But it's kind of a link to just a lot of the projects that I'm working on, the stream and the YouTube channel and podcast appearances, that kind of a thing.
Nice. Yeah, what I do with mine is I'll actually, if you go into your video on your YouTube channel and hit the second share button down by the subscribe button, you can actually get the iframe HTML code from there and put that. So what I have is I go to my live video feed, which is just my channel name /live, get that framework, that iframe, and I put that on my homepage. So anybody at any point in time, if I'm live, can go to my website and watch me live. So
Oh,
really
gotcha.
cool.
Okay.
Danny says WordPress can be used with Square. Did not
Really?
know that. It's probably just a plug-in. Yeah.
Huh.
Matter of fact,
Yeah, I just used their basic like login to Squarespace, and they got their own little basic editor, which is, yeah, I mean, like I said, it is what it is. I mean, I've learned enough of it to kind of do what I need to do, but
yeah. That's how mine went. I went through Ionis, and it's pretty much the same thing. They have their own click and drag builder. I was like, no, I'll take the WordPress, thank you.
Yeah, like I said, I just wanted to get something. The main thing was I kind of created it right before I was doing the business card thing, and then I was doing the website thing, because I wanted to actually have a semi-professional appearance as far as like when I went to the Game Accessibility Conference, since that was going to be a big thing. And like I said, I mean, I love what I do in my day job, and like I think education, employment, and, you know, like I said, just getting out there and being able to work and be independent and support yourself is super important.
Yep.
Through blind or low vision. But like, I would love, as much as I loved that stuff during the day, like I really think if I could, I would love to be able to independently support myself professionally doing this kind of like consulting and advocacy and tech and game accessibility thing. And but right now I'm happy with, like, I'm just getting some, you know, some moonlighting opportunities, and it's
nice.
Awesome. I'm loving it.
That's really great. Cool. Well, I want to wish you the best in all those endeavors, and hope to have you on again to discuss about what we were talking about earlier, as far as like employment goes. That would be an awesome topic, I think, especially nowadays. Man, like, okay, there's shelter in place, there's isolation, or whatever you want to call it, unemployment, 35 plus million people are now unemployed, but no one really thinks about the disabled population, how unemployed they already are, and add this on top of it.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely, I mean, well, I think, what did I hear somewhere? Oh God. I read there's a statistic, was it yesterday? Minnesota's unemployment rate just shot up. I want to say it's like 8%.
Wow.
Or something like that. So I'm like, oh God, that's going to be fun.
That's your state, Minnesota?
Mm-hmm. That's where I'm living right now.
Computer, what's the unemployment rate of Minnesota? Let's test Alexa.
Here's something I found on the web. According to uselectionatlas.org, today it's just 92%. The real Alabama numbers are probably something like 62%/38%. Did that answer your question?
What?
Nope, because that was the wrong state. I usually have.
I thought I heard Alabama.
Yeah, I usually have her plugged into my mixer board, but I don't know what happened. Anyway.
Yeah, I read something yesterday. I want to say it was like up to 8%. I'm like, oh dear Lord, because I think we were down really low before, but it just climbed up super fast with this whole pandemic.
Yeah, that's crazy. Thanks for coming in, standing, and blessings to you too. Have a great night.
But yeah, I mean, I would definitely be willing to come back and talk about that, and I'll try to behave. I have a lot of thoughts in that area too.
Oh, that's okay. Fortunately, YouTube is giving me the all clear for my accurate self-certifying for my monetization. So I don't
like, no, I mean, I just, people, you know, just probably unpopular opinions.
That's, if we all had popular or normalized opinions, and it would be a boring earth.
Yeah.
Like, we're meant to express our feelings and our own personal opinions, as long as, you know, like, you got something to base it on. But if you're just there just to argue,
right?
Then,
No, absolutely no. It's it's definitely one of my passions, though. Cause
that's good. That'll be a good show then. Just catching up in the chat, and then we'll probably, another gambler. Yep, so they're just playing games. So I want to thank everybody in the chat for who was stuck around and who tuned in earlier. Much appreciated. And don't forget to head over to IllegallySighted YouTube channel and subscribe there. Follow them on Twitter, Mixer. Check out his website, IllegallySighted.com. And yeah, you'll find some great information there. Yeah, any last words, Jesse, before we get out of here?
I don't think so, really. I mean, it's been a blast. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for inviting me on. I know we've been thinking about doing this for a while, but glad we finally got around to doing it. So
yeah, it's been really cool.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Thanks to Joe Quirk for, I don't know where he's at. He was supposed to be here, but thanks for Joe Quirk for connecting us. That was really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Alrighty. Last chance, people in the chat. If you've got any questions, now is the time. You got 30 seconds. If I don't get any questions in 30 seconds, I'm going into the intro scene.
All right.
Checking right now. Unpopular opinions are the best. They, most of the time. Yeah, it sparks intelligent conversation.
Right, that's what they should do.
Yeah, well, yeah, they should. Some people are just like, well, I heard it this way, and then so that's how it is, I guess, apparently.
Yeah.
Agreed. -7. Yep. Okay. So it looks like that's gonna do it. So,
all right.
Again, Jesse, thanks for coming on. Much appreciated.
Yeah. Thank you. It was fun.
Yeah. Don't worry, guys in the chat. You've got a couple minutes for the intro scene to get as many galactic credits as you can, and then maybe I will dish out a prize tomorrow for this game. But until next time, everybody, have a great night, and don't forget that this has been Theory of Blind Man. I've been Whistler. And don't forget, love is blind, so keep it blind.